An old soul. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Maturity Project. I'm your host, Chad Ever Broshears, or Sir Chad Ever Broshears to some. You know. This is the Maturity Project. And I am, today I'm just wanting to talk about just getting things done. Just doing things. So, what is really interesting to me is what people think they're capable of and how they put in a specific amount of work to accomplish something. It would be really interesting and nice if every single thing that you wanted to accomplish in life had a description of effort put into it, like an ingredients list, like looking at food in the grocery store or whatever that has ingredients list on it. It'd be great if it had that, especially if it had that in a way that it was what it took for you to get that thing done, to accomplish that thing. So, how fantastic would life be if you knew the effort amount necessary to accomplish a specific outcome? Well, let's see. I'm certain that came through the microphone very well. Yeah. Anyway, so back to it. So if everything that you wanted to accomplish had that list on it, and then to have it like be even smarter than that would be, where are you currently with the resources necessary to be successful with this thing? You want to be able to do this, X, whatever that is. What resources do you have to be successful with that? And from that, you could really make differences happen in life. You can really make things happen. Oh, all right. So here's the thing. So what I'm looking at is, from my own life reflections, it's just set the goal and then figure it out. Do what's necessary, figure it out, keep doing things, figure it out, keep doing things. But every time you figure it out, it's almost like invisible ink in that list of things that you're supposed to do or what you need to do in order to achieve a specific goal. It's like the invisible ink is starting to show up. You can see it and it's telling you, yeah, and this is what you need to do. But a big part of the problem is people don't know what to do. It's not that that there's a mystery and that people are going, well, what is it? I wish I could read this, or I wish I just, you hear it by, I wish I knew it was necessary, but that I don't hear as often as I hear people say things like, well, that's just not going to be possible, or I couldn't imagine myself doing it. That's the first thing you got to remove in that thought process, is that you couldn't imagine seeing yourself do it. You got to remove that. But that's not possible. No, it's not going to be possible if you think it isn't. Now, the other thing is that what we do is we look at people when they have the results already. And we say, hey, I'm not that person. Who can beat Michael Jordan? I love the fact that people are trying. And people argue, they say that, that somebody he's not the GOAT, the greatest of all times, whatever. But, that's the good thing about life, and the good thing about human beings is we always have this competition thing that we're trying to be better than our previous self and better than whoever the top person is at that time. So there's really nothing wrong with that. And actually, there isn't anything wrong with it, because if you look at the attributes of our species, this is a huge benefit for us. We are managing to develop and grow and to become more adept and capable as a species because of that competition. It helps drive our technology. It helps drive our innovation overall of all things. It helps us develop into the next level, to what we're capable of. And even when we take directions or avenues that excuse me, aren't really the best for us. Still benefits us because we're moving, we're doing something, we're trying something out, we're learning how to overcome whatever challenges. Some of those challenges aren't present, won't be present until we cause a problem, until we go down a specific path, and then we realize there is an issue there. But you don't know it. You create it, and it's something that would likely show up at some point in time anyway. It's just you sped it up because you put effort in, and then next thing you know, you got there. So, all right. So there's that. Now, yeah. I liken a lot of things to the physical body simply because, one, I spend a lot of time in the professional world working, on the physical body and helping people change theirs and change my own. As I shared in the previous video, I used to be, I was not the number one draft pick in dating when I was in high school or even middle school. I wasn't the most desirable guy. I'm not now either. I'm not living in that reality, but things are different now, because of, the specific growth and development, and, people gauge attraction on a higher level and with more values and variables in their adult life than they do when they're in their, adolescence, primary schools and things. So, yeah. All right. So it's great whenever you do get into it and figure out, hey, there's a lot of stuff that I can do here, that I can grow. And if you look at your previous successes and start listing out, thinking about what it took for you to get there, to be successful, that can be a way of reverse engineering the effort and motivation to be successful in the next thing, whatever your next goal is. No, that may be a good way for you to do it. For me, I kind of like the adventure of it, but it's not easy to assess when you've arrived because of, as I said, most of the time we're gauging what success looks like. What success looks like based off of somebody else's outcome, what they've done to be successful. That's what we seem to do a lot of. And when you are successful at it, because it doesn't look the same as the other did, as the other person did when they've got to that point of success, it doesn't look the same, so you may disqualify it and say, well, how could this be the same? It's not. Or you don't even think about it, and then you pass it. You might pass it and then take the wrong direction and take it all away because you weren't aware that you've achieved it. So there's a lot of different things that we can do, and that's part of the problem of not being aware of achieving it. If you stay on the same path of progress, you'll surpass that goal that you have without necessarily noticing that you did it, and then you can get to that next level and say, hey, wow, this is interesting and not quite what I thought it would be. But I was setting out for something else, and you're like, oh, wait, I've already got there. I did it. That was it. That's what it's like to be, like financially independent. What is it like to be financially independent? Well, hell, we can figure that out by, realizing what financial independence is by a specific amount of money. Cover your bills. Well, guess what happens with a lot of people? Unfortunately, once they've covered their bills, they start taking on new bills because they have more money, and they have a spending habit that shows a lower maturity in finance, in their financial self, depending on the circumstances too. Because, excuse me, like if you're in a situation where, let's say, you've got a significant amount of money, which is going to be very few people, like let's say you win the lottery or something, it's a massive amount of money. You just having that much money, you have to spend it or invest it, and there'll be a point in time where even investing it, it depends on your goals. But if you got like 500 million in the bank, the way that the tax system work, you'll have to spend it or send it to the government. And my personal position is I don't want to send much money at all to the government. I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can because I don't agree with what a lot of what they're doing. and I don't want to fund what they're doing, especially since I don't agree with it. So, it's I've got my own position in that, and I'm very patriotic when it comes to America, but I'm also very driven to help develop and nurture development in our species as a whole. So anyway, but when you get into a certain financial level, you've got to spend money or you send it to the government. So that's a different situation. But we have other people that are trying to develop and to become more financially secure and knowledgeable, and it's just mature, what that totally encompasses, which is discipline. Excuse me, jeez. It just encompasses a lot when it comes to maturity. But it's beneficial. Right? It's maturity is the ability to adapt to your environment in a way that makes you more likely to be successful, less likely to lose things that you don't want to lose, or reduce the resources necessary to accomplish a specific goal. It's efficiency in things. It's maturity also is efficiency aspects. So we've got people that will say, hey, I'm focusing on making more money. Well, they get a job where they make more money, but then they make more bills. They want they've got a perfectly good car, but they want the nicer one. And there is a such thing as treating yourself, and that's a justification for spending more money. But you really, if you want to be mature about it, you have to set points of when you're going to treat yourself, and you have to have a mature position on how much money do you need to have in the bank and in savings, and how do you need that money invested if you're going to go that far, which if you're talking about investing, not just savings, then that can increase the demonstration of maturity. It's a checkpoint, and then it's okay, what kind of future do you want? Because if you want financial independence, you have to understand exactly what that means. Saying it because it sounds nice is like saying it because it sounds romantic, just to con somebody into the relationship so that they can be disappointed and then be upset with you. That's what happens in relationships when you make a declaration and you don't follow through, or you don't have the ability to follow through, but you have the ability to convince people you're wanting to do something or to be a certain person. And that's in the relationship element, which that's actually a conglomerate value in maturity. So it's not a category on its own. And I'll discuss that further, because you do have community, and community does have relationships in it, and that's part of that maturity process. But when we talk about the intimate relationships, that's where the multitude of different maturity areas come together and form into that one area of that one category, if you will. So romantic partnership. But anyway, so I'm using romance as an idea because that's how some people treat their interests whenever it comes to, I want to be financially independent, but they haven't really thought about it. Well, it's because it's a romantic idea to them, or it's an exciting idea to them. It's kind of a cliche idea to them, because that's what it really is, a cliche idea. It sounds good. It sounds great, and it almost makes you feel like it helps support you in your position your position in society. It helps you gain favor amongst your peers. It gives you these different variables that make you feel good about saying it, making the statement. But it actually doesn't mean much if you don't have a definition to it. It's just something to say. But you also reduce the urgency of doing anything about it, because you're getting the reward you're looking for, and the reward system that you're valuing this on is how other people feel about you versus the reality of being financially independent. Now, a lot of times when it's stated, it's combined with, an earnest effort. I really do want to be there. I don't want to struggle anymore. But if you don't have a plan or a strategy, you haven't thought enough about it. You haven't put your thoughts in the right place. You put your thoughts into, I just don't want to struggle. Okay, great. But I gotta know what struggling means to you, so that we can come up with the opposite side of what that is. But you gotta talk to me about it. You gotta give me the understanding of where you're coming from. What's your plan? What's your strategy to get there? That's that mature side. That will set you free, because then you can start looking at what's effective and ineffective, and you can change your behavior to meet what's necessary in order to be successful. So, if you really want to get there, you got to do this stuff. If you want to be able to teach it as well and to pass it down, like from watching these, I'm sure that the people that have followed the videos and have followed me, they understand that a lot of what I do is to make sure that my son gets the best opportunities possible. But it's not the best opportunities based off of the fruit of my labor in the way of results that are tangible. It's in how I can teach and develop and help him become more independent and functional in society. That's my intent. I have to learn what's necessary to be successful and learn how to teach it, not just how to do it. So my efforts are in that category of behavior. I'm not just trying to do this for me. I'm trying to do this so that the world can benefit across the board. And I want to find out where I'm wrong. I'm looking for where I'm wrong. And I find out I'm wrong often. I mean, it's not like, I'm impervious to it. I'm not some sort of oracle or something. I'm working my butt off to find these areas and to say, okay, well, what's that attached to? Because if I find out I'm wrong and it in some way upsets or offends me, then I have to look at how is that foundationally attached to who I identify myself to be. And now what can I do with that upset? Because I can detach it and stop letting it pull a string on my behavior. But I have to be aware of it. And that's what I use whenever I feel like when I find out that I'm wrong and I feel emotional about it in any way, other than satisfied and happy or gleeful or joyful that I'm wrong, then I look at it and say, well, what is this attached to? Or am I being told that I'm wrong, which is a category of itself? Am I being told that I'm wrong, but I'm not? But I haven't been convincing enough in my argument with the other person to help them understand that they actually are wrong? Or is the communication off? This is the benefit of when you do learn debating, because debating is not a bad thing, and it's not like everybody tries to make it out to be this horrible thing. There's just rules of debate that actually are rules in communication, and if you learn them, you can use them. Straw man. Everybody straw man somebody else at some point in time when they're trying to reduce the benefit of their argument by making it into something characterized of their argument, like something that could easily be blown over or knocked over. You're like, dude, you're just silly, and you're not looking for the depth of the reality of why they feel the way they do. Steel manning is the exact opposite of the straw man side of it. And steel man is where you are digging intentionally to try to understand where the person's coming from, to strengthen the argument enough to see how well yours holds up against theirs. But first, you want to know where they truly are, and you want to get as much real structural basis to their argument so that you can better understand it. As when you do steel man, sometimes the argument stops. And it's not because you made them feel good. It's because you discovered how you were wrong, or how there was data that was missing, that conflicted, that created a gap that you weren't satisfied with accepting. And neither of you were wrong. It's just that your wanting to be right was wrong. That was it. So there's different things when you look at the way that communication works. And it's a beneficial thing to take things out of specific categories that have this emotional charge around it, like the category of debate. A lot of people say, oh, it's a debate, I don't want to hear anything about it, whatever. It's an argument, and they turn it into some sort of like a fight that is, some unsanctioned fight or something. They make it into this horrible thing, and it's not. It's healthy to watch people debate if they're debating by the real rules of debate, because it helps you with critical thinking. And it's a huge benefit. Pass, go, pass. Man, that's a maturity variable as well. So I get reminded on a regular basis of, what needs to be done, and what work is ahead of us. And people show me regularly where maturities lack, and I have them, and I catch them, and then I tell myself, you got work, my man, because why not? I mean, what else am I going to do? Who I was yesterday is not the person that's necessary for tomorrow. He's built into the foundation of that person that's necessary for tomorrow, but he's not him. He's not equipped for what I need him to be. For my goals, who I need my tomorrow to be, right now I'm not equipped to be that person in practice. I'm equipped in the desire to learn, to understand, the curiosity of knowledge, and looking for knowledge and experience, because knowledge on its own is not beneficial. It's knowledge plus experience makes change. It's just, you get less guided change whenever it is just experience, with new experience, but you do have knowledge. You can have less efficiency, but you're getting efficiency through practice, so you can grow. So, yeah. So learn to learn, the basis of communication, especially if you really want to go further in life. You've got to learn how to communicate. And it takes something, because communication requires, more than one person understands what's being said. And often we just have to give him a call back. That was one of my best friends, Johnny. Anyway, so yeah, communication. So with that, learning what's necessary to be successful in anything that you do is always right in front of you. The problem is that you don't know how to see it. You can use past experiences if you look at them for the structural effort necessary to be successful, instead of the emotional attachment to what happened and how the emotions guide you through the way you think. You're like, well, that really upset me. I don't want to go back there. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. You just took a package of information that was through experience that was collapsed and combined with emotion, and you took it off. It's gone, because you're blocking it. You said, I don't want to go back there. I don't want to experience that. I don't want to deal with it. It's an avoidance thing that actually denies you growth. Now, there are traumas that we go through in life, and without the right safe area, the right safe environment in order to address it, you really shouldn't address it, where somebody's had something truly traumatic happen to them. They don't have enough stability in their current state to revisit it. But what's interesting is that we live our life like a stack of cards. A house of cards, like a house of cards. Because we don't address these small incidences. We feel that if we address one, we got to address all of them, but we got to do it all now. Well, I will tell you that if you address one, you do need to address all of them. But when? Not now, but when? Because it's going to be based off of your current abilities and your current resource levels, your current stability. Then you take on. But also what your tolerance is for the effort, and the result. By the way, you can crumble simply because you get what you want. You can crumble because when I mean crumble, as you fall apart, you're unable to continue on the journey, simply because you got what you want, and it's so emotional that it cripples you. It could be the thing that distracts you from all the other things that you need to keep your focus on. Because you're just so happy to have accomplished something, you forget so much else, so many other things. You've looked for something, or you've worked so hard for something for so long, and then nothing else matters, right? Like, how much would matter to you? What things could you write down that really will matter to you, in all honesty, if you just won that $500 million lottery? And you got to go to the state capitol the next day to go get it. Like, you got to go claim it. How much do you feel that you would be able to keep on your priority list that day? What's next? What do you need to take care of before you go to the capitol? Now, in most instances, if you're a parent, the child would be taken care of, or the children would be taken care of. And then maybe if you have pets, then the pets would be taken care of, because if you have to travel to the capital, in this example, let's say that traveling to the capital of the state may take you, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 hours to get there. It's likely it's going to take you the day to go claim this. So that's what else is going to be important to you. Going grocery shopping is not going to be on the top priority list. Maybe making a sandwich, but you'd likely just say, I'd pick something up if you even think about food. No, things fall off the priority list of what's important whenever you have that. We do this in a lot of ways. It's not just for winning money, but that's an extreme example to give you an outline about how we do this in smaller examples and other ways. That's the thing that I think is interesting and that's worth looking into, is we really do need to take these things on. Now, winning or getting what you want can be distracting and can defeat you eventually if you don't get yourself repositioned. Also, that acquiring a specific skill set that actually outpaces others, or you acquire the outcome that a skill set is not quite strong enough in you, but you by chance, like winning the lottery is by chance, you're financially not strong enough to acquire that much money on your own without winning it by chance by playing the lottery. So then your financial literacy and maturity become the main focus. Or I'm sorry, not the main focus, but the area that you've exceeded your capacity, and now there's the probability that you're going to become a little arrogant about that place, or a little beyond your level of actual functional confidence. You've shifted that to the next one, the next place, which is where you wouldn't necessarily have like a cocky, arrogant aspect about you if you had worked your way to that point. That doesn't guarantee it. Now, you do have people that obviously have that much money or acquire that much money or are capable of it, and then you talk about money, they do have this error about them that, that really doesn't accept you as well when you're talking about that, because they obviously have demonstrated more maturity in it. And they may have a little bit of an attitude or a distancing reaction or attitude towards you about that, ability to acquire money like that. But, all right, so you can skip because you've acquired something that requires that you be more mature than you are. Could be the wheel of fortune, if you will, not the game show, but the way that life happens and it turns in a wheel, and it's up to your preparation to be able to see the opportunities as the wheel turns. And that's the way I live my life, is that, just do everything you need in order to be capable of seeing new opportunities and capable of handling new opportunities as the wheel of fortune turns in your favor. It will always turn in your favor. It's a matter of how much time do you spend developing yourself to be able to deal with every single spot on that wheel. Whenever something shows up, how can you make life a little bit different for yourself? How can you develop yourself for every single opportunity that shows up? Most people wait for the glitch in the system, if you will, the real opportunity and the opportune chance. In order to win the lottery, you got to play the lottery. If you don't play the lottery, you're not going to win the lottery. It'd be really odd and strange if you win the lottery without playing it, right? And there's a very good chance you're not getting that money because you didn't do the minimum necessary to enter into the opportunity contest. So we really, it'll benefit us to start looking back at the way that we do things in order to get to where we're at. I went on a little bit of a diatribe about, the consequences of achieving something that actually exceeds your maturity. You can also achieve something and be good and strong in some place. Let's say financially, you're again, I'm kind of harping on finances today on the maturity calendar of the 8 areas of maturity. So finances is something that you've gotten better at, and now it becomes a strength. But do you hide in the shadow of that strength so that you don't have to avoid the other things? You see this in relationships where the breadwinner will start using the fact that they're the breadwinner, they're making more money, and they're taking care of the family or taking care of whatever, their partner. They're being taken care of. And then something else happens that needs attention in the maturity areas, and the person just gets behind the money. Like, what are you talking about? I'm all in. I'm always working on those. I'm always doing this. You know what? I make this much money so that you can live better. That you can have what you want. I do all of this, and it just seems like you're ungrateful. It's because they're hiding behind the money. And not necessarily that's guaranteed every single time. Sometimes it is you have a partner that has not developed much and emotionally they're immature, or one of the other 7 areas. In this example, we have money or finance and emotion, so the other 6 areas of maturity. Now, if we want to be able to break free of that, we got to start taking the stuff on. So this is one of the things that I absolutely adore about my business partner, Courtney. She has that ability to you bring it up and she will put the focus and thought into it. And I appreciate that about anybody that does that kind of effort and that work. I have friends that are like that, several of them. And I absolutely adore those relationships because these people get to work, and not just them. It is not just them that gets better by doing it. It's everybody in that circle that are up to working on each other, and that are working on themselves. And then everybody wins because we share the work with each other. We share the effort, we share the results, we put in the work to be successful. So that's the thing that's one of the reasons why we bond and find people that fit our circle for what we're up to, what we want to accomplish. Because that conversation gets to get magnified. Every time you bring somebody in that's up to something similar to you, that's why we like people, is because they have their computing power and total life experiences that they put into the moments that they're thinking about that are associated with the moments that you're up to and what you're thinking about and what you're after, what your goals are. And they come in like this greater think tank. When you learn to communicate, that becomes so incredibly powerful. It's insane. Because you're now linking systems, if you will. It's like linking a bunch of computers so they all have to bear the work in order to discover the information it's after. Same thing with people. Whenever you connect with those groups, that's why mastermind groups become more and more successful, because they work together to come up with a solution for something. They take all of their life's experiences and their current aptitudes and they apply it. So with my circle, my people, that's what we all do. We all do it. Those people are also very close friends of mine. It has such an interesting depth of intimacy involved in it, because I need to see their success, because their success fuels mine. And me sharing what I've gone through, my insights and views, as honestly as I can, not theoretically, not sitting there speaking about something that I don't do, or a foreign way of thinking that I don't use. I don't do that with these people. If I do, I frame it and say, well, this is not the way I think, but this person's probably, based off of these criteria, thinking this way based off what we know. Doesn't guarantee it, because there's too many variables that I can't see, don't know, and or even equipped to be able to understand that. But this is categorically what I think this person's going through, and or how they are seeing things, and then how you can allocate your resources to that person to minimize your own harm and also theirs, and to increase the benefit for everybody. So we do these practices and we go through this stuff. That's actually more of a blueprint way of communicating than it is the exact way that we communicate, because it's not in the moment. But look for these conversations. I'm coming up with something in the very near future that's going to be encompassing this, as I bring this into another level of communication, another level of opportunity for us to be able to see things. So I am changing the format to this. I will continue to do this, but I'm going to change and create another format that I have intention to bring guests on and to really relax into a conversation and let it flow. We'll have our subject and topic, and we'll address how we need to address and bring those perspectives in. It's how do we increase the global consciousness, is that we start appealing to the multitude of people that have different perspectives, but they can relate to different variables that I don't have, that are not going to be a connecting point for people that are not associated with the way that I be, and don't find that the way that I be that inspiring for them, is because of the blockage that's there can reduce their abilities to actually gain anything out of this. But by bringing other personalities and people in with different ways of seeing things and communicating style or communication systems and styles, all of that can be supportive and helpful where perhaps I will start to become, somebody more desirable to listen to or to learn from or to experience things with, and therefore open the opportunities for me by the communication pieces, so that I can start seeing things a little bit differently as well. But you got to get past those things. So the format of what we're looking at is something along the lines of probably sitting around in my home, it could be, drinking or smoking or whatever, and just relaxing into, a conversation of meaning that can inspire. That's a format that I'm working on. And it's more of just the layout right now, which room to use and how to set it up and what day of the week to do it and that kind of thing. So, but this is the goal. All right. So with that, today's episode is really on, how to do things and or how to get things done, and to, if you had the ability to look at things as what's necessary in order to be successful here on average, and then what's necessary to be successful in this particular thing, whatever that is, the goal that you have, and have a list of things that are based off of your own current abilities and limitations. And then you can say, I got to apply X, Y, and Z, then I'll get where I need to be. All of this stuff builds into itself to make you more and more successful by creating insights that can potentially lead to, creating thoughts that have the ability to build structures to be successful. All right. Till next time, I am your host, Chad Everett Broshears, or Sir Chad Everett Broshears to some, if you know, you know. And this is the Maturity Project. Now, I'm geared to grow, and that's a big thing for me. Geared to grow. Constantly looking at what gears I need to put into place so I can grow. It's just, I need it. It's the thing that it moves me. It absolutely puts the fire in my belly to get into action. So if you would join me in this, share the video with the people in your life that you want to break the ice with. Join me in making the change that we want to see. We got a lot of work to do, but where we need to put our efforts on ourselves first. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. That statement's there for a reason. So let's try to avoid creating the path to hell. And let's make our own heaven. Until next time. Let's get to it. Remember, share the video with people in your life you want to share it with, you want to break the ice with, like the video, and subscribe to the channel. Okay. All right. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you guys are getting. Talk to you soon. See ya. Let's get to it.